Hello everyone and welcome to this course of 3D animation. So in this session we will define we will use the graph editor in this session. So as you can see we are just dragging over the timeline and also we will add some amount of points into our scene. So at first I will go to Playblast and just check if the Playblast is working quite well or not. So frame by frame you just have to add the Playblast, and in this window as you can see the window has been pop-up and also it has the Playblast feature, and as the character is moving quite well, so with the help of Playblast you will have understanding idea how you can change or how the animation which you have done in Maya software. As you can see, the movement is quite well, and we are into Play Blast, and both the legs are working quite well. Also, the body part, which is also quite well, and after that, we'll just minimize this, and also we'll look at in this view, which is the left view, and we'll go to Play Blast, and after that and we'll just go to this section of file, and we'll move in this view, and as you can see we are in the left view, and uh, we just check the Play Blast, and after that it's working quite well because the character is moving quite well, and just cut it off. And this section, which is the perspective one, we have all the controller switches into the character, and we have just played around the timeline, and after that we'll just have the graph editor, which has some points, and we'll just animate all the translate. So at first we'll just mute all so that we have a normal proper animation, and we'll just check and manipulate it into as we are running over the timeline. You can see that just select the character and just uh, go to the graph editor again. As you can see, these points which we have animated, it's following the loop. So we have generated the loops. At first you have to just manipulate the first section, after that you can repeat it according to your needs. So we have pre-infinity and post-infinity, so we'll just put the post-infinity and pre-infinity, and as you can see the animation will generate a cycling manner. If you just go forward, it will just repeat the same, so you have to just animate a few frames. After that it will just loop that particular frame at your timeline. So the points which is generating in the graph editor, which is the animation key, so you can change it through the dope sheet editor also, or the graph editor also. Okay, so with the help of this you will have a simple animation, and you can just drag it around the timeline. Just minimize for a while, and we'll just off the nerves so that you can have a good idea how you can just have the animation, and go to the play class so that you find your uh, area where you want to move the file, or where you want to generate the cache memory, so that you will animate, and you will have the idea. At first the play blast will buffer to few frames, and after that when it gets buffer the animation will run smoothly. So you will have a pop-up window which will open on your screen. As you can see, the animation has been completed, and a new window is formed which is just open on your scene, and after that it's just with the help of this you will have the idea that how much animation you have done on your so will just look quite well, because blocking is important. After that blocking you will have to just generate the animation between the keyframes so that your animation will look more refined and defined. And after that you will have to add some more points on your animation so that it will look more realistic. So as you can see, you have to just play frame by frame so that you will have the good idea about having animation which is just on your computer. So as you can see, So I will go to nerves again to see all the curves which is formed into the irrigation. With the help of this nerve, you can easily manipulate your character, which we have discussed earlier, and we just selected only one point. That's why the graph editor is showing that particular curve, which is in the x-axis, because x is the red one. So just select and just go to the right section of your screen. You will find that controller, so you can move it according to your need. And in this frame, I think we need little bit of correction. And this frame also, if you just manipulate the curve, definitely the animation section will change and the character section will also change. After that, select one by one point. You can have the easily manipulation, and as you can see, the graph is generating quite well. So like this way you can have the proper animation. I will select this point and I will just delete the same, because we don't require this, and we'll just put the value on that. If you add extra points, definitely jerk will gain. So right now, as you can see, we have just recalled this point, and I need this to one point to be deleted, and this lowering value, so that you have to check it one by one, that whatever you have done, it is right or not, so that you can have manipulation it easily. So this point, which is been created by me, and after that I will just calculate this point also, because we don't require this point. And after that, if you just run the timeline on your screen, definitely it shows some changes on your board. We are in x, y, and after that we have the three axes, which is x, y, and z. So three are just forming into different colors, is the x, and all the curves are slant, because definitely we have done the animation like this. And you can also change the value from upper panel, which is situated after that. You can just put value. Okay, and after that, just select this point. We'll delete the same, because we don't require that amount of. Like this way you can just check the animation, is it working or not, because checking is very important. And also to just manipulate the curves and all, which you have formed into the animation. And also we have to look at the timeline, that it working quite well or not. Okay, one by one, the playing into the timeline, and also curve, if you just go, all the curves will change, because it is forming the cycle loop on your screen. And after that, if you just see the animation, it is working quite well. Like this, you can just put some points, and also you can change the curve on your it. And after that, you just check on tables that whatever you have done into the screen, you just follow the right manner or not. Is it working quite well? And after that, we'll open the nerve and curves also, and we'll off the grid, because we don't require the grid anymore. And we'll just go to one more thing we have to do. Well, we just on the grid, because we have to define a ground, so that the character will move at the ground. And after that, we'll just put it on here, somehow here, and we'll off the grid, because uh, without having grid, we can't apply the ground, because grid is required for it. And after that, we'll just go to the first frame, so that we'll just check the animation working quite well. One more thing we have to define, that whenever the character is walking, the foot region will not go inside the ground, so you have to just take care of it. go to the play blast, okay, and after that just run into the timeline one by one so that it will just form a good play blast. And after that, when it happened, you can check your animation on the play blast that it is working quite well or not. So play blast has been completed and a new window will pop up which shows the animation, and as you can see the animation is working well because the foot region of the character is not going inside the ground, which is not overlapping. So that would be fine because we have to take care that the foot region or any of the character part will not overlap to its because so we have to fix all the things. Like this way you have to define a particular plane that you have the idea that how character is moving into the plane and how it's generating some weight around its motion, which looks a much of more naturality. So when you're working in animation, you need some references so that you will just look at the reference and just work on the same, which is very beneficial to have the reference. That would be okay. I will just go to view and we have the bookmark, and we just go to the edit bookmark so that we have a defined camera. That means if you have the defined camera, you can use the camera. Otherwise, if you don't want to use the camera, you can use the bookmark so that the scene, particular section of your scene will just form, and you can have the apply to shelf. After that, it will just form on your shelf. So whenever you change your camera angle, you can go to that particular bookmark, this particular section. So as you can see, we are just now curves again as to and form all the curves we have into section. And after that, just select any of them and just go to the graph editor and just change the character animation and decrease the points. And after that, we'll just edit the tangent one by one and just select this tangent and just move it upward a little bit. And after that, we'll just rotate this according to our need quite well into the timeline, which is very important. And after that, if the playing is been done, we will generate the loop, and we'll just select this part and we'll go to translate X. The points which is formed on your timeline is one by one. We have to just repeat the loop, and we'll just select this graph. We'll just lower the value like this way. One by one, we'll just decrease the tangent, and we have to generate the curve tangent on our graph sheet editor. So we'll just go to the nerve curves again to the panel which we have done, and that will just on the timeline to have a look at the it's working quite well. And after that, go to the play blast to have a play blast. That means again you have to just open the play blast, and after that the buffer will form so that you will have the idea about having play blast on your screen. And after that, we'll just work for the same, because whatever you does, it will all show in the play blast. That is a dummy animation viewport. So as you can see, this is working quite well. And cut this off. After that, we'll just go to the curves, and we have just formed the nerve. And after that, just go to rotate Y and just select all the points. We'll delete the same, generate the curve, and we'll lower the curve value here. and we'll just select this and we'll just minus 10, which is fine, and also we'll just select all the points which is at, so we'll just increase the value one by one, and we'll just go to Z, and as you can see we have all the points which is forming the same. Delete the points. You can see if you delete any of the point, the motion and the animation of the character will change. As you can see, it is running quite well into the timeline, and also you can just add extra points if you need to add some much more details on your character. That would be okay. So one by one you have to create it, and also you have to just check it, is it working quite well or not. Okay, so this point need to be shifted so much more at the top, and if you just go forward, as you can see here, so here we have 2 trillion of character which is working not bad, but I can change it according to the need animation, because if you have the reference you can watch the reference quite well, and after that you can just change it according to the reference. So as you can see, the foot region of the character is working well. After that we'll just select any of the other parts which you can manipulate easily. So like this way you can just have the animation on your computer, and you just go to nerves, last play last, whatever you does, it will buffer the same, and after that it will just put a new play blast on your screen, so that you may have the idea how you have done the animation on your computer. And now look at the play blast and just check the animation is working quite well or not. Yes, it is working quite well. All the body part is moving well in a proportion way, and now you have the idea how you can just manipulate the animation of the character and how you can change. So as you have the idea how you can just work with the graph sheet and dope sheet editor and all, at first save the file. Hope you understand the same, and let's switch to the next session.